It must be good when front row Joes still stand up after 300 or something, whatever the hell. They're still standing. That's pretty good. But it's been an amazing period of time. Our country is hot again. We have a great country again. We're respected as a country again. So these are your golden years, but these are really beyond your golden years. This is the golden age of America. This is where we are. We're in a period of time, and you've lived, and you're going to live a long time longer. But you're going right now through the golden age of America. The crooked Joe Biden people. These are radical left lunatics that almost destroyed our country. I'll tell you what. If we didn't win this election, I believe our country was dead. I don't think it could have sustained the open borders, transgender mutilation of your children. I believe our country, men playing in women's sports, they say that's an 80-20 issue. It's not. It's a 99-1 issue. The mutilization of your children, that's a 99-1 issue. These aren't 80-20. They say that's a 70-30 issue. It's not a 70. It's every one of them and so many others. Frankly, look, they have the worst policy in history, but they stick together. Republicans have to stick together. If we stick together, we can't be, because we have great policy, common sense policy. Under crooked Joe Biden, American seniors were ravaged by the worst inflation in the history of our country, devastating the budget, senior citizens. When I say the history of our country, I'm always criticized because they correct me. They say it was 48 years. It wasn't history. It was 48. And I think that sounds pretty bad, too. I actually think 48 years, it sounds more specific. It actually is better. So they say the worst inflation in 48 years. I say the history of our country. But you had the worst inflation we've ever seen. Prices soared, healthcare costs skyrocketed, as Biden and the radical left Democrats in Congress allowed 25 million illegal aliens to pour into our country. This was an invasion of our country. Tell them to turn up the microphone, will you please? Turn up the mic. I hate it. You pay these guys a lot of money, and then you get up and the mic isn't on properly. And then they want their money, and I don't believe in paying people that do a bad job. I only like to pay people. I pay early. And I'm screaming my ass off because the mic is no good. Turn the mic up, please. Amazing. But all of that changed the day I took the oath of office on January 20th, 2025. Under the Trump administration, we're standing up for American seniors like no president has ever stood up before. And just as I promised, we're strongly protecting Social Security and Medicare, and we always will. We have a man here who knows more about Medicaid, Medicare, medical crap than any human being. Where's Dr. Oz? Where the hell are you? Stand up. He's great. It's the most boring trip I've ever made. He's telling me about Medicare, Medicaid. All I want to do is take care of you. I don't care. I said, you work out the details, but I did say, give them the max. That's all I care about. Give them whatever the hell the max is. But Oz has been great. You have been great. And Bobby's been great. He's a little different. Do you agree? We needed somebody a little different, and we got him in Bobby Kennedy, right? But they work together. That is great. I brought somebody else with me, central casting for a Treasury Secretary. If you're casting a movie, look at them. They're already excited. A lot of people didn't know him. He was very successful, great success, actually, but people didn't know him. Now he walks down the street and people are asking for his autograph. It's crazy. Scott, stand up, please. Scott Bessent. They wanted to be here. I gave him an option. I said, I can meet you guys later. No, you're going to the villages. We want to be with you. So it's sort of cool. We got a lot of celebrities here, actually. But together with the Republicans in Congress, we've removed nearly 300,000 illegal aliens from the Social Security roll. And we've removed more than 100,000 migrants from Medicare eligibility, 100,000, and the number's going up. What we're really doing is saving Social Security because it was so rife with fraud, and the Democrats didn't care. They couldn't care less. All they care about is Trump derangement syndrome. They are sick. They are lunatics. We're dealing with lunatics. You can do, but I've learned, with time, I've learned if I want something, I go the opposite. In other words, if I want the wall, I say, I will not, under any circumstances, build the wall. And they give me all the money I want. Just go the opposite. They're crazy. They're crazy. It actually is a disease. I think they're going to register it next week. Trump derangement syndrome. They're going to TDS, commonly known as TDS. This man has an incurable case of TDS. To further stop Medicare and Medicaid from being looted by criminals and thugs, we've launched a war on fraud. You've been watching it in the papers. We're all over Minnesota, California, all over. They're taking down hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of people a week and a day. It's led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's doing a great job. I said, J.D., I want that job. I want to do it as president. He said, let's do a little delegation, please. But J.D.'s done a great job. Thousands and thousands of people are, it's a fraud. I mean, look at the wonderful country. It's a beautiful country. You should try it sometime. Somalia. It's a beautiful place. It's got no government. It's got no military. It's got no anything. It's got one thing that's really strong: crime. It's got a lot of crime. They have no police. All they do is run around shooting each other. It's filthy, dirty, disgusting, dirty. It's a horrible place. They come here, and Ilhan Omar, you ever hear of it? She heads it. And think of it. They have nothing but crime, poverty, pollution. Everything is horrible over there. Nothing good. They say it's the worst country anywhere in the world, and we got some beauties out there, but it's the worst. And then she comes here from Somalia, and she tells us how to run the United States of America. She says, the Constitution gives me certain rights. And I demand that I be given these rights. Get the hell out. What a phone. And then she married a brother to come in. I don't know, you're not. But I would imagine they're looking at her. I have nothing to do with it. I would imagine. Of course, I have nothing to do. I have nothing, but I believe she married her brother, which is totally illegal. Although it's a lovely couple, actually, but it's a little bit on the illegal side. Darling, I love you very much. Good night, brother. Let's go to bed. Good night. Isn't she despicable? I can't stand watching. I can't stand. Did you see last month? She accidentally checked the wrong box. It said she was worth $38 million. And law enforcement came after her for that. And then all of a sudden she was worth less than $80,000. And she said it was accounting. It was an accounting error. That was not a very good accountant, was it? Huh? No, their whole life is based on fraud and a scam. The whole thing is a scam. And we ought to get those people the hell out of our country. To get better care to our seniors much more quickly, my administration has dramatically accelerated Medicare prior authorizations, a big deal. That's what used to take days and weeks and months to get, and now you're getting it done in a matter of minutes. Really, I mean, unbelievable job you've done. Minutes. And we have a big search for fraud. Very little. You know, when people get arrested all over Minnesota, all over California, when you see what we're coming up with in California, Gavin Newsom is not good. But he gave the worst interview a month ago. Did you see it? Where he said he was incompetent, he can't read, he can't write, he can't do it. He said he's horrible for testing. We should give him a cognitive test. I took 3 of them, aced all of them, by the way. You know, I'm the only president to take a cognitive test because I don't think Obama could pass it. I don't.
Oh my God.
Didn't he get into Harvard with a C average? I don't know. What's that? I don't think he could pass it. I don't think, well, Biden, give me a break. You know, the first question is very easy. It's a lion, a giraffe, a bear, and a shark. They say, which one is the bear? And everybody says, oh, 30 questions. Everyone says very standard. It's a very standard test, but very tough around those last 10 questions. Not too many people, even in this very room, unlike Newsom, I'll say this room of geniuses. He said, I'm in a room of dumb people. That was not good. That was not good. You know what happened to him after that? It wasn't a pretty, but I'm in a room of brilliant people, but a lot of you wouldn't have been able to answer those 10 questions. And when I got the score in the test, the doctor said, wow, I've never seen, you know, you have 5 doctors lined up. They're all over the place. I said, should I take it? You know, I've had different phases. They've said, he's a mad genius. I didn't mind that too much. Then they said, he's a horrible human being. I don't like that much. Then they said, he's really not a smart person at all. I really hated that. So I took a cognitive test and I said to the doctor, first doctor is Dr. Ronnie. You know Doc Ronnie. We all love Doc Ronnie. But he had a whole team of doctors at Walter Reed, a great place. I said, so should I do it? He said, well, it's a tough exam, actually. You know, those last 20 questions, they get tough. A lot of people can't do them. I said, well, what do you think? He said, well, if you do it, they're going to find out because it's essentially a public, you know, it's a military hospital. If you do badly, they're going to find out and it won't be pleasant. I said, well, I do well and things, so let's do it. And I got everyone right. And these are tough questions. These are tough questions, you know. They say take a number, any number. Okay, I'll take 99. Multiply times 9, okay? Divide it by 3, good. Add 4,293, that's good. Divide by 2. Subtract 93. Divide by 9. What is your answer? Now they go a little slower than that, but not much. I don't want to waste a lot of time. But there aren't a lot of people that get it right. I got it right, you know. It was actually longer and more complex somehow. But no, it's a tough test. So I took it. And then, and everyone said, all right, good, he's smart. He's smart. It's not really smart. It's like, you know what we are really? We have common sense. We're people with common sense, right? We like strong borders. We don't like open borders for the world to pour into our country, right? From prisons all over the Congo, all over South America. The Congo, I tell you what, the Congo, they just used to think that we were just an open cesspool where they take all their prisoners and dump them into our country. Parts of South America, the same thing is terrible. So, as you know, we've done a fantastic job. But I just felt, and I put out yesterday a statement, I think anybody running for president or vice president should be forced to take a cognitive examination. Right? I mean, you get a guy, he gets in, he's got a good line of crap, he gets in, and all of a sudden you're stuck with a man who's a moron. This is not good. This is not good. We went through 4 years of it. It's not a good situation. But we also dramatically increased coverage for outpatient clinical care known as site neutral payments, stopping seniors from being ripped off by billions of dollars of outrageous fees that they charge, billions and billions of dollars, right? Oz. And on top of these major Medicare improvements, I'm pleased to report today that we have authorized $210 million in rural healthcare funding for the great state of Florida. 210. We're taking some of the money that they scammed. You know, we're catching billions of dollars, billions. Minnesota, it's like It's like, you ever hear the expression, shooting fish in a barrel? It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And that governor and that attorney general are so crooked. It's so horrible. It's so horrible. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, stranger things have happened, I will tell you. By the way, and our attorney general is doing a very good job, isn't he? Todd Blanche, she's doing a very good job. A lot of action. There's a lot of pent up action. Perhaps most importantly for our great seniors, they've secured the largest reduction in drug prices in American history. You say it. Under my most favored nation agreements, we are delivering you the record setting discounts with price differences of 400%, 500%, and 600, 700, and even sometimes 800% reductions. Now, some people would say it's 80, 90, 70. It depends on the way you phrase the statement, but it could be 500, 600%. It could be 90%. It doesn't matter. We've gotten you the largest reductions in history, the largest reductions. We were the most overpriced. We had the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. And now we have the lowest prices anywhere in the world. That's all you have to know. And to get that, because Oz said to me, it's going to be very tough. The drug companies are going to be bad, but we had to get the approval of other nations. As an example, I talk about the fat drug. The fat drug, a friend of mine who's extremely fat and very wealthy and very obnoxious. He's a very unattractive individual, actually, but he's extremely smart, very, very successful. He's a highly neurotic person, semi-controlled. I would say, usually I like to say I like a neurotic person, but it has to be controlled. This guy's only semi, but he's in London, and he calls me, he goes, President, in New York, I'm paying like $87 for the fat drug. He called it the fat shot. I've given it that name, the fat shot. And I said, well, it's not working too well for you. But he said, I pay $87 in London. In New York, I'm paying like $1,300. So I'm paying $1,300 and $87. What's that all about? And other people would call me the same, but he made a big imprint because he's a very smart guy. He said, you know what, I had it traced. It's made in the same factory. It's made by the same company. Everything's the same except the price. One's $87 and one's $1,300. He said, this is ridiculous. And it did hit me the right way. And we went to town, didn't we, Oz? We went to town. And we shamed the drug prices because they were for years said, well, it's research and development. They said, well, it's research and development for them also, right? But we got them. They weren't easy, but we got all of them lined up. But they said it didn't matter. The reason we got them because they said we'd never get the other countries. We had to get approval of the other countries where they'd have to double their prices and triple their prices because we come way down. They go up a little bit because the world is bigger than us, right? So they go up a little bit. So I call up, like, as an example, France. I spoke with Macron, right? Macron, he's a wonderful guy, president of the country, nice guy. So I say, Emmanuel, your drug prices are a tiny fraction of ours. We can't have that. We're going to have to raise it. No, 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 Donald, I will not do that. No, no, you will do that, Emmanuel. No, you do it. 100% you're going to do it. No, 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 I will not do it. And this went on for about 2 minutes. I'm saying you will. He's saying he won't. So most people would say he won't do it. Then I said to him, Emmanuel, if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 250% tariff on all wines and champagnes that you ship into our country. And he said, Donald, how dare you? You should not do that. You cannot do that. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. Okay, you have a deal. That was it. That was it. And I told Oz couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. And we had the same thing with Germany. We had the same thing with the other countries. They said, look, you're not going to do it. We're going to tariff the hell out of you at double the number that you're talking about. And they all agreed. Every one of those countries agreed. And now you have the lowest drug prices anywhere in the world from the highest. And that alone should win us the midterms, but you know, the fake news doesn't like to write about it. They don't even like, I noticed a couple of the cameras went off when I was talking about it. When I'm getting to a really juicy subject, to me, that's a juicy, think of it. I mean, you talk about healthcare, it's all around medicines and everything else. And Byron, how big a deal is that, right? By the way, this guy's gonna be a great governor, okay? That'd be great. Ag Commissioner, you just stand up. What a job he's doing. What a job he's doing. My Ag Commissioner, who I endorsed for a long time. So I just want to thank you all. You guys are doing a great job. Byron, you're going to be fantastic. We have somebody named Ashley who's very respected. Will you please stand up? Senator, our great senator. I suppose you're all leading like a lot. But remember, make it too big to rig. You got to go out and vote. Don't assume anything, you know. We did great in the second election. It was a rigged election, but we did great. And I said, well, I had the ultimate poll because we won the second election by a lot. So that's a good poll. So we did it again. And I said, too big to rig. You got to make it too big. They showed me leading by a lot. I said, don't be fooled. Just go out and vote because they are cheaters. They cheat like hell. But all of you have to do, and really what you want to do is Trump, and I didn't name it. This was named by Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Oz. I did not name it. Is that right? I said, what is that? TrumpRx.gov. Okay. I said, everyone thinks I put my name on it. I don't think I'm going to put my name on medical things. I mean, you know, medical things can be very dangerous to have your name on, to be honest with you. But it's setting, I guess, records from what I understand. There's never been anything like it. So TrumpRx.gov, go to it and buy your medicines for very little money. Very little money. Different. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I wish the press would talk about it, but the word is out, and it doesn't probably matter that much. The word is out. They don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the bad, but this is really something that's special. I'm very proud. But today, I'm thrilled to announce that starting on July 1st, we will also provide Medicare patients with the coverage for weight loss drugs like Ozempic, Zepbound, Wegovy. It will be available for $50 a month. $50. Wow. Now think of that, $50 a month. So if it was $1,300, now it's $50. And the $1,300 doesn't cover a whole month. So it's really even more than that. So it's now down to $50. So that's where you get it. And also, and you remember when I cut insulin and I got it down to $25 insulin, it was $2,000. And that was before this. That was before this. I'm so glad you mentioned insulin. You know, when I got insulin done, it was at the end of my term and I got it done, but it doesn't kick in statutorily for 2 years. And I said, I better win the election. This is going into the second election because what a job I did. You know, insulin was at like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I got it to $25, but it kicked in. It kicked in about a year and a half, 2 years later, statutorily. You had to wait a period of time and all of that nonsense. So I said, boy, I better win because if I don't, some guy is going to take credit for something that I did that they could have never done. Lo and behold, the election was rigged. And I saw Biden a year later standing up there saying, I did a great job on insulin. He doesn't even know what the hell, he had no idea. And I was sitting there seething. I was watching television. You know what it is to seethe? I seethe a lot. But this is one of the times I was seething. Oz knows that. I was so angry. I said, I did it and I didn't get credit for it. We did a lot of things we didn't get credit for, but I guess I did because here I am, a president. I guess. Not only are we taking care of your physical health, we're also taking care of the financial health of our seniors. As you have probably seen, the 401ks and retirement accounts of millions of American seniors are skyrocketing like never before. You know, we're in a war because I think you would agree we cannot let lunatics have a nuclear weapon. Do you agree? Whoa. Because if you read the fake polls and things, it says, well, it's only a 20% or 25. Nonsense. And look at this. I'm talking about all these things you're getting, and you stand up when I talk about you can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. We can. But I did something that was, I don't know, foolish, brave, but it was smart. I would do it again, but I thought the numbers would be much worse. I thought the stock market would go down much more. I thought the oil prices would go up much more. I said, but we have no choice. Whether it does or doesn't, I have to do what's right. We can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So I called in. So I called in Scott Bessent and all of my people, mostly my financial people, and I said, all right, folks, congratulations. We just hit the highest price in the history of the stock market. So they said the Dow would never hit 50 during my 4 years because it was too much of a raise. They thought 6, 7 years out, maybe it could hit 50,000. They said the S&P could never hit 7,000, right, Scott? That would be even more unlikely. Maybe at the end of the 4th year, but probably not. It would be 5, 6 years out. And we hit 50,000 on the Dow before the end of my first year. We hit 7,000 on the S&P before the end of my first year. The stock market is rocking and rolling. Your 401ks are at the highest they've ever been. I don't have to listen. I don't know how the hell you could be doing badly, but your 401ks are setting records. I have people coming up to me and saying, "You made me a hero to my wife. You made me a hero." I've had numerous policemen. I had one guy from years ago because I did the same thing. We had the greatest financial markets in the history of our country in my first term. We're blowing it away now. We're blowing everything away. There's never been a country this successful in that sense before. But yeah. But now I said, okay, you ever do this? Well, you're doing so well. I said, so we just set every record. We have the highest stock market in history. We have things that just going. By the way, there are more jobs today in our country than at any time in the history of our country by far, right? So, but we have to think a little long term. And I said to Scott and Howard and all of the people that worked for me, great people, Jameson, Greer, all of them. I called them in. I said, fellas, congratulations. We have the highest stock market we've ever had. Everyone's doing great. Oil prices were very low. They were 60 and 70. You were buying oil for $2 and even less. Remember, just a couple of months ago, you were at $2 and 185. I was in Iowa. It was 185 a gallon. I said, congratulations. Now I'm going to upset the apple cart for you because we have to take a little journey down to a beautiful country known as Iran, and we have to make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. We stopped them with the B-2 bombers. If we didn't do that, we would have had a nuclear weapon. Israel would have been blown to pieces. The Middle East would have been blown to pieces. I think Europe would have been blown to pieces. But under what we were doing, I said, look, we're going to have to make this journey. So it's almost like we built up this great thing. And then I said, now we have to break the eggs a little bit and we have to go and do it. And the only thing that I'm surprised is that I really thought oil would be, Dr. Oz, we talked about it. I thought oil would be much, much higher than it turned out to be. I mean, it's not low. It's certainly not low. It's going to come crashing down as soon as this war is over. And they're getting decimated. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. They have no radar. They have no leaders. Their leaders are all gone. Very sad, very fine people. But with all of that, I said we have to do it. So I think you understand. But I am surprised. I thought the stock market would go down by 25%. I thought that oil prices would be at much higher than they are right now. They're not nearly as high as I thought. And we're gonna, look, we're winning so big. We're winning again. Their Air Force is gone. Their ships are gone. They have a Navy, 159 ships. That's a pretty good Navy. Within the first week, 159 out of 159 ships are right now lying at the bottom of the sea. The Navy is gone. And we're discussing, I spoke to him today, we're discussing, it's a little hard to figure out who their leaders are, frankly. You know, their leaders are gone. The first set is gone. The second set is gone. Khomeini was gone. And they were pretty evil people. Not pretty evil, they were evil. They killed 42,000 protesters. 42,000. And in a period of 2 weeks, they killed 42,000 protesters. But we had to get this done, and we're really doing well. We're just winning. If it were a fight, they'd stop it. If this were a fight, they'd stop it. You know that expression, it's true. But they're not coming through with the kind of deal that we have to have, and we're going to get this thing done properly. We're not going to leave early and then have the problem arise. Under 4 years of Crooked Joe, I go crooked and sleepy. Which is better, Sleepy Joe, Crooked Joe? Ready? Sleepy Joe. Crooked Joe. I love it. It's free polls. You know, if I went to a pollster, they're all phony. If I went to a pollster, I'd pay $1 million for that question. Give me $1 million, sir. And then they don't go to anything. They just put it down, whatever they want. You know? They say, we scoured the countryside. They didn't scour. They sit in their room watching television. They say, oh, let's give Trump a little bit of an advantage. It makes him happy. Under 4 years of crooked Joe Biden, the average 401k rose at the rate of $875 a year. Okay, that's something, a little raise. But you know why he rose? Because of me with the 4 years that we had. Because after that, there was nothing. He would have gone down. They took over the momentum of what we created in the first 4 years, which was incredible. Under Trump, so it's $875. Under Trump, the number 875 is the rise, $30,000. So it's 875 versus $30,000. For seniors, that number is 50,000, 60,000, even $70,000 or more a year. That's what you went up. And just yesterday, I signed an executive order that will, for the first time, expand matching IRA contributions to the millions and millions of Americans who lack employer-sponsored plans. Obviously, some of them. And starting next year, every citizen will be able to go to TrumpIRA.gov and sign up for a high-quality, low-cost IRA so that everyone can benefit from the rising stock market. Go sign up. These are all things that people have been talking about for years, right, Scott? They've been talking about them for years. In 4 years, the Biden administration got less than $1 trillion of new investment. So in 4 years, he got much less than 1 trillion people investing in the country, other countries, other people. In my first 11 months, we secured commitments for more than $18 trillion now pouring into our country from all over the globe. Think of that. Think of that. Less than $1 trillion in 4 years, and 11 months. The 12th month hasn't come out yet. We've been there not long enough. But in 11 months, $18 trillion. So that's 18 times more. But think of it. It's really almost 100 times more if you really multiply it out properly. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Congratulations. Core inflation has dropped to a 5-year low. And I tell you, the only thing, we got a little raise with gasoline. It's going to come down lower than what it was. Don't forget, we had that gasoline down to $2 and below $2 in many cases. It's going to come tumbling down. There is so much oil out there. It's pent up. It's all locked up in the Strait of Hormuz, a beautiful place. It's, I think there are close to 400 ships loaded up with oil. When all of that gets released, when all of that comes out, these people tried to hold up our country for years and years, the world, by closing up the Strait of Hormuz. When all of that stuff comes out, you're going to see prices dropping on gasoline like you've never seen, and all of that, electricity, gasoline, anything having to do with energy. Grocery prices are way down. Used car prices are way down. Look at eggs. Eggs are down by 4, even 5 times. Remember when I took over, eggs were so high? Remember my first news conference as president of second term? 2 days in, I said, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions? What about eggs? I said, what? Egg prices are 4 times higher than they were a year ago. I said, I just got here. I've only been here for a day and a half. And we had a problem with eggs. The prices were through the roof. I got them down to now they're lower than they were at the lowest point 4 years ago. Think of that. But I got them down. Does anybody write about it? No. That's why I like doing speeches. You know, they don't write about it, so I do speeches. That way I can talk about it. Sometimes you got to do it yourself. Earlier this year, I directed Fannie and Freddie to buy, you know what that is? Well, where's Bill? Where's Bill Pulte? He's around here someplace. He's done what a great job. He's created $1 trillion value. Look at him over there. He's jumping. Smart guy. During my first term, I was offered, sounds like a lot of money, but it's very little compared to what, less than $100 million to buy Fannie and Freddie. And I said, nope, I don't want to sell it. Don't sell it. They wanted to sell it so badly. And now it's worth over $1 trillion. If I would have sold it, I would have felt like a schmuck, you know, to be honest. It's worth over $1 trillion. What is it, about $1 trillion now, right? He says higher. No, we could have sold it. We could have given it away for nothing, practically nothing. So I directed Fannie and Freddie to buy that's Bill, $200 billion in mortgage bonds, bringing interest rates plummeting down from nearly 8% under Sleepy Joe and 6% even lower. And don't forget, we had a hostile Fed guy. We had a guy too late. We call him too late. He's too late with interest reductions. Jerome Too Late Powell. We had I haven't figured out, is he a bad guy or a dumb guy? But it doesn't matter. The end result, he's either dumb, bad, maybe he's a combination of both. But in any event, because rates, we would have had them even lower, but we've done great considering that we're fighting. Now we have a great Federal Reserve chair coming in, and he's going to be fantastic, Kevin Warsh. We've reduced the annual cost of a typical new mortgage by $4,000. Think of that, $4,000 a year after decades of other countries stealing our jobs and plundering our wealth, taking advantage of our country like we're a bunch of fools. Thanks to our strong policy on tariffs, I love those tariffs. We cut our gaping trade deficit by 55% this year alone. So we had a trade deficit was massive when I took over. And if you cut it by 1%, 2%, you're considered like a genius. I cut it by 55%. And next year is even better. And that's despite the Supreme Court making me do the tariffs a different way. I cannot believe they did that, but they did it. They shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't matter. I'm doing it a different way, a little more work, a little more time. Pay back 159 billion of the money that you got in. But we're doing it. It's actually very solid. It's 100%, can't be challenged. And we informed the very beautiful country of Germany that because of the fact that they and other European nations have not adhered to our trade deal, they haven't adhered to our trade deal. We have a trade deal that Scott and me and Howard and all our great people, Jameson, we all did a great trade deal, but the European Union has not adhered to it. So we've increased the tariffs on all cars coming into the United States by 25% and trucks. Knowing that if Mercedes and BMW and the truck companies and all of the people out there that send stuff in and didn't pay anything for years, they ripped us off. They took our jobs away from us. Not anymore. It's the opposite. They're all coming back. You know, factories are pouring back into our country, but they're all coming back. But we informed them that we're going to charge them, we're going to increase their tariff to 25%, knowing that if they build their plants in the United States, there is no tariff. They have to hire our great American workers, and there is no tariff. Think of it. And we are now building AI plants all over everything. But we have part of that $18 trillion. But we have more construction going on in what they call plant and equipment than we've ever had before in car plants. We had a period of time that for 25 years, we didn't build one plant. They took our car industry away, went to Germany, Japan, Mexico, Canada. It went to the European Union like crazy, Germany. Think of it. It went to the European Union. We went for a period of almost 30 years with barely building a plant. Now we're building more plants for cars and trucks than we've ever built in the history of our country, including prime time from many years ago. They're all coming back because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. Very simple. They don't want to pay tariffs. If you don't want to pay tariffs, that's fine. Build your plant here. Build it in Florida. I don't think of you too much as you don't need the cars, but build it in Florida. I'll be any place in the United States is okay with me, but they're building them all over our country. We added 186,000 private sector jobs in March. Jobless claims just hit the lowest level since 1969. Think of a jobless claim. So since 1969, the lowest level since 1969, and more Americans are working today, as I said, than at any time in the history of our country by far. It's not even close. And with our no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, we're doing something that has never been done. And the consumer, which is you have more money to spend than you have in many, many decades. Very importantly, for our great seniors, we are, I hate to mention this, it's so negative. It's called the estate tax because nobody in this room will ever die. But just in case you should, if you have children that you love, it's very important. If you don't love your children, then it doesn't matter too much who cares. Oh, I know some that won't leave their kids. They hate their kids, but these are bad people. They're usually very wealthy too. I don't know what that's all about. But we have no inheritance tax. We have no death tax. Who really affects is the farmer, the small farmers, medium-sized farmers. They're called land rich, cash poor. That beautiful land that's very valuable, but they don't make tremendous income. And they die, they leave it to their children. Their children goes out to the local banker, borrows money to pay the tax because the tax was 50% and more. And they end up losing their farm. In many cases, they love their life. They commit suicide. It's a crazy thing. They lose their whole life and they commit suicide. There's no more of that. So when you die, you leave your farm or your small business to your children. You have no estate tax. You have no death tax. I think that's a big deal. I think to me that's a big deal, right? Byron, that's a good one, right? That's good. You want to lead your way of life. You don't want to be forced to sell your farm. Sometimes you can't sell your farm for what they think it's worth, and you have nothing but trouble. What a problem it was. You don't have to worry about it anymore. We made interest on new car loans tax deductible, but only if you buy a car that's made in America. Otherwise, we couldn't care less. That's a big deal. So that you go out and you borrow money to buy a car, and you paid interest, you didn't get, now you get a deduction. That's like 40, 50%. It's like a phenomenal thing. You get 100% deduction on interest. So the interest payments that you make to the bank for the car loan, you're able to deduct that from income tax. Now, it has to be made in America. So go buy American cars or cars that are made in America. And we also created the brand new Trump accounts along with a really fantastic family, the Dell family. Have you used their computers recently? Susan and Michael Dell, they're amazing people. He put up 6,250,000,000. A lot of people said, I'm going to match him on the 250, but even the 250 is a lot. Think of it. He was the first one. He bought 6,250,000,000 of these accounts for children all over the country. And it was just announced this morning that it's setting records so that, when your beautiful baby will have an automatic $1,000 contribution for every newborn child. And it allows everyone to contribute to a tax-free savings account for your grandchildren. A lot of people are buying it for their grandchildren to benefit them. So that after they turn 18, they could have $100,000, 125, 150, depending on what goes on. And they can be sort of rich. And it's an amazing thing, and it's like a wildfire. It's doing so great, right, Scott? It's been really an amazing thing. And with us today is a grandmother who lives in the Villages named Mary Alice. After a long career in the Michigan real estate and automobile industry, she and her husband retired to the Villages. And thanks to our great, big, beautiful bill, I love that bill. You know, we have 4 years worth of stuff. That's why we call it the great, big, beautiful bill. We were going to have 19 separate bills. And I said to Mike Johnson, John Thune, I said, fellas, Speaker of the House, head of the Senate, I said, let's try for one big, beautiful, because I don't know, these Democrats are crazy. And it was early. We had a little bit of a honeymoon, just a little tiny bit. I said, let's see if we can get everything in one bill. And everyone said, no way, you're not going to do it. It's the greatest, it's the biggest thing ever passed in the history of our country, the great, big, beautiful. And it's mostly, it should be called the great, big, beautiful tax cut bill. But also we have tremendous regulatory cuts. And that's why your jobs are so good, because all of these people, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, everything, they're able to take regulations with a little bit of a grain of salt. It's not going to put you out of business. There are tremendous regulation cuts, and it's really been amazing. So they just received a tax refund of double the size of anything that they've ever gotten. Think of this, Mary Alice, for years she's gotten peanuts, and now she's gotten a tax of double the size, and in many cases 4 or 5 times the size of anything she ever got before. So Mary Alice is now considered a rich person. Come on up, Mary Alice, if you want. Come on up. Oh, look at her. She looks good. She's a rich woman. Come on.
Thank you, President Trump. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Hey, wait, let me get this out. You want me to get that out? Wait.
Oh, yeah, because I'm really short.
You can, I think you'll be good.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank President Trump for everything he's done for all of us. And the big, beautiful bill helped my husband and I so much this year. We were so shocked when we picked up our tax return and the accountant told us how much money we were getting back. We were just thrilled. It was double what we thought we would get. We ended up using some of that money to pay for a new roof. Now, we all know we live in Florida and we all need roofs. So we were able to use some of that money for the new roof, and we're thrilled that we were able to do that and we didn't deplete our savings account. So and this is all because of the no tax on Social Security. And, we live on a income that's fixed. And so we have to be careful how we spend our money. And thanks to President Trump and his administration, we've been able to live a great life here in Florida. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, President.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Oh. That's better than I can do, I'll tell you right now. No, it's a great story. Thank you, Mary Alice. You're really something special. Thank you. Congratulations. But never forget, every single Democrat in Congress voted against no tax on Social Security. They voted against it, every single one. We didn't get one vote positive because they're just like a sick unit of people. Just like the State of the Union speech. I introduced people, the mother of somebody who was slaughtered by an illegal immigrant that came in, is slaughtered so horribly, and please stand up. And the mother stands up. She's beside herself. The Democrats are sitting here. They didn't move. They're just sitting here. No, just sitting here long fast. The Republicans are going crazy. They're screaming, and they love the woman that they wouldn't clap, or the helicopter pilots that did so well in Venezuela, a great, incredible military achievement. And he was shot in the legs, bringing down a lot of men in the helicopters, a big Chinook. Then he was shot in the legs, and you operate those things with the legs more than anything else. And he was very badly hit hard in the legs, and he brought that helicopter down, and then he says, take over because I'm gonna be passing out now after it was perfectly landed in exactly the location it had to be. Otherwise, we could have had a problem like Jimmy Carter had. You remember that problem? Helicopters crashing back and forth. It was not good, but that was Venezuela. How good did that work out, right? And we introduced him, handsome guy, beautiful looking guy. We introduced him. We gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor. That first time it's ever been done in the State of the Union. We gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor. And the Democrats sat there like a bunch of dead people. They didn't move. And I called them out. I said, you people are crazy. There's something wrong with you. But they voted against income tax cuts for seniors. They voted in favor of the largest tax hike in the history of our country. They wanted the largest tax hike in the history of our country. They also created the catastrophic inflation that I told you about, worst really in our history. If congressional Democrats had their way, Florida seniors would be paying higher taxes, higher prices, while Republicans have given you much lower taxes and much lower prices. You know, they use the word affordability, but I was the one that received these high prices. You know, it's amazing. I come into office and I say, wow, look at how high these prices are. And the Democrats start screaming, affordability, affordability. They're the ones that caused the problem. I'll tell you one thing. They got one good line of bullshit. That's one thing I'll say. They are so bad. They are so bad. It's true. Affordability. It's the first time I heard the word. I'm 2 days in, and I watch this sleazebag, one of these crazy congressmen, get up, and he's being interviewed. He said, affordability, prices are too high. I'm just got there. But we brought prices way down. They gave us tremendously high prices, and they'll give them to you again. If they take over, you have to get out and vote in the midterms because they'll give them to you again. And we're pleased to be joined today by some of those great warriors from the House and Senate, including someone who is representing your great state really well. And I introduced her just briefly before, but she's fantastic. She's a great person, a great senator, Ashley Moody. Thank you for being here, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. And I also want to introduce Randy Fine, who's back there, Kat Kamek, who's over here, Daniel Webster, who, by the way, is retiring. I don't like that. Where's Daniel? You're around here someplace. Daniel, stand up, Daniel. What a career. He's retiring. And I know we have a good Republican taking your place, if that's possible to take your place. Thank you, Daniel. Great career. We appreciate it. Long time. How many years? Long time. He's been there a long time. Great gentleman. And a man who never stops fighting for the state of Florida. I know it. He is a fighter. Byron Donalds. Special. Special guy. Thank you. Thank you. He's so far ahead in the polls, I don't have to ask him to come up. I would ask him, but when you know, my theory is when you're up by more than 20 points, I don't want to waste the time. Okay, is that all right? He's killing him. Another great friend of mine, Florida Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, who's running and going to be great. He's a great guy. And the Florida CFO, Blas Ingolia. Blas, where are you? Yes, Blas, thank you. Thank you, good job. We're also joined by very much of a legend. He's really an amazing guy. He straightens you out mentally, probably has his own problems, but we don't have to know about that. But we've all grown up watching him. I've watched him for so many years. I did a show before the election, and I thought I was sort of doing him a favor by doing him the show. I said, I'm hotter than he is. Why the hell should I do a show? But I did it, and I have never had such a response as I had on that show. Where's Dr. Phil? Are you here? Come here, Dr. Phil. No, I did a show. Wow. Come on up here, Dr. Phil. Get up here. Give them a little lecture, but very short. Give them a little lecture on life. Talk about life for 2 minutes or less.
Well, hello. I, I had a different reaction than the president when I told my wife I was coming to the villages. She said, "Oh no, not without me, you're not. Those people are crazy partiers." Uh, she says that Robin says, "Give you her love." She really wanted to be here, but we have grandchildren, so I'm now fifth in line. By the way, Mr. President, I've given that cognitive test that he took. I used to administer those where you give them 9,000 divided by 2, 6, 7. I recall one guy did that about the president's age. Took about 6 minutes to go through it. He said, "So what's your answer?" And he said, "A small wire-haired terrier." So great that he got that done. No kidding. Listen, I really do want to take a chance to talk about this a little bit because what the president is doing here is really something you got to think about differently. He's restoring trust between Americans and the government because you understand you understand that this was your benefits were never supposed to be taxed to begin with. That was the deal the American government made with the American people. And and from 1935 until 1983, that was the deal. And then they changed the deal. That wasn't what you started with. That wasn't the deal. And President Trump is trying to bring the deal back and say you can trust your government to do what they tell you they will do. President Trump is fighting to restore trust between Americans and the government. And, and he's trying to right a wrong here. One of the things that President Trump does is he tries to solve problems that nobody else is even working on. They're not even working on this stuff, and he's solving those problems. He's solving the problems other people do, they're not even working on. This taxation is double. It's double taxation. Workers pay their 6.2% with after tax dollars and then are taxing them again, which is patently unfair. You're paying taxes twice. And he's not willing to say that. And seniors are vulnerable because you have fixed incomes and no ability to earn your way out of a broken tax promise for a tax burden. And he's fighting for that so you don't have to do that. And I think everybody should recognize he's fighting for something you can't fight back for. And that is so important. And it's really critical that this simplifies everything. And people will say, well, it's going to cost money. That was the deal. That was why they changed the deal. It didn't have anything to do with taxes. It had to do with trying to increase revenue. If we'll just let him go track down the fraud money, it'll more than pay for this 10 times over. It will more than pay for this to stop the fraud in America. Stop the fraud in America. And here's a little reminder. Here's a little reminder in case your mind is playing tricks on you. You matter. You are important. And you are important to this president. I know him, and you are important to this president. And I will tell you a quick story. We win. The end. You know, I've spent most of my life certainly as a professional, actually since I was 12 years old, studying why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. And I can tell you that in studying that, I have found out what makes people champions. And I know what makes him a champion. I can tell you, people that are champions play the game with passion. They play the game with passion. They surround themselves with like-minded people who understand why they feel so strongly about what they do. They tell themselves the truth. They deal with the truth when it comes up. And I didn't come down here just to stand up and say a few things and get a little golf clap from everybody and say nice speech. I wanted to come down here because I want you to remember what I'm saying about President Trump and not getting taxed on your Social Security benefits and about his leadership. I want you to remember that on May 1st, the bald guy came up and told you that this is important and we've got midterms coming up and you need to make sure that not only you vote, but find 10 people and make sure that they vote. Because we have a president that stopped apologizing for America and started taking pride in this country. I don't want you to just hear me. I don't want you to just hear me and give me a little golf clap. I want you to hear me and say, on this day, we decided we are marching for the USA. We are marching for the USA and we are marching for this president. March for the USA. March for the USA. Thank you, guys.
That was a good job. Thank you, Phil. That was great. So just in finishing up, I just want to say, Phil, that was fantastic. Thank you. So true. You weren't supposed to be paying those taxes, but now you're not. So today we delivered the huge win for our great fishermen and anglers here in Florida. I don't know how many people fish. Does anybody fish? We've just officially approved something they've been looking for a long time, all state permits for the 2026 red snapper recreational season. For years, our great fishermen have been punished with very short federal fishing seasons despite record high fish populations, and the states are begging, they're just begging, and the people are begging to get going. We want to go fishing, and the incompetent Biden administration tried to shut down the oceans for our fishermen. We love and respect our fishermen, and unlike the Democrats, will only do them good. So to all of those who fish red snapper and other fish, Trump and Noah are delivering for you. So just enjoy it. We're all set. It's all done. You got fish. If you catch some extra fish, enjoy it. Got plenty of fish. There are a lot of fish in the ocean. I don't know where they came up with that one, but there's a lot of fish. You know, the environmental catastrophes that they've done to this country is just terrible. Starting on day one, we took the most dangerous, unsafe, violent, and open border and created the most secure border in the history of the United States of America, with zero illegal aliens having come into our country in the last 11 months. Zero. In 2025, we achieved the largest drop in the murder rate ever recorded. I hate to even say it. It sounds like sort of terrible, but think of it, the murder rate, who talks about that? But crime has gotten so bad during the Biden administration. It was the largest number of murders that we've ever had. Now we had the lowest number of murders in our country in 125 years. Think of that. All the way back to 1900. We cut the flow of fentanyl across the border by 63%. Think of that. And it doesn't come in at all by water. I wonder why. By water, we're down 97%. And we're all looking for the 3% because we consider them the bravest people anywhere in the world. You saw what we had to do. For years, it would get a boat, they'd bring them in, they'd book them, and they'd let them go. And he'd go back and they go back to wherever they came from in South America. They'd be taking a boat in the next day. No, we stopped it. It was enough. We're down 97% in fentanyl by sea. Think of it. And we unleashed American energy with those beautiful words, those gorgeous words that probably helped me get elected. It's lucky we have all that oil because we're selling a lot of it now. Those ships are coming up instead of the Hormuz Strait. They're coming up. Those ships are coming up by the hundreds. They're loading up in Texas, Louisiana, Alaska. But we had those beautiful words. We have plenty of oil. We have more oil. We have double the oil. If you add up Saudi Arabia and Russia, we're more than double what they produce together. Think of that. The words are drill, baby, drill. And as you can see, we rebuilt our great military in my first term and spent over $1 trillion of investment over the last very short period of time. And despite the fact that they embarrassed us in Afghanistan by leaving a lot of equipment behind, those fools, but it was still a lot of equipment, but not a lot compared to what we did. But we rebuilt it during my first term and my first year. And I didn't know we'd have to use it this much, but if you look at what we've done, I mean, what Venezuela is considered one of the greatest military movements in history. There's never been anything like it. And frankly, we're doing just about as well in Iran, but I don't like talking about it until the jobs are finished. Let's not talk about anything until it gets finished. But think of it, their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their whole place is gone. And then we get people to say that we're not winning. We get the radical left to say we're not winning. We're not winning. They don't have any military left. It's unbelievable. It's actually, I believe it's treasonous. Okay, you want to know the truth? It's treasonous. So we rebuilt our military. We have the greatest military anywhere in the world, and we've proven that. In Venezuela, we're proving it right now in Iran. They're looking at this and what the hell is this? This should have been done, Iran, by other presidents long before me, and it should have been done by other countries too. And we got no help from NATO. We got no help, zero from NATO. You know, we spent trillions of dollars on NATO. We got no help. We didn't need it, but we got none. I said, would you like to come here? You're fired. He said, fire him. No, they know they got problems. No, it was a paper tiger. We got critical race theory out of our schools. We abolished DEI all across our federal government. Our people are prospering again. Our country is winning again, and America is respected again. Perhaps respected more right now than ever before. And if you go back 1 year, 1.5 years, we were a laughing stock all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. The whole thing was ridiculous. Couldn't walk upstairs and downstairs. Now, I'm very careful when I say this because there'll be a day when I may go down, and I don't want to be too strong on that because if it happens, I want to just pop up and say, hi, everybody, how you doing? But he fell excessively. He fell more than any human. I think he set a record, most falls in history. No, he was a laughing stock. The falls were the least of it. It was an absolute, what they did to our country. I'm telling you, we wouldn't have a country. We couldn't have stood another year of it. With the borders, our borders were being, that wasn't people coming, that was an invasion of our country. 11,888 murders, 50% of which, more than that, killed more than one person. These are the people they allowed into our country. The good news is we're getting them back and we're getting them out. We're getting them out. And I want to thank Border Patrol and I want to thank ICE for the abuse that they have to take from the Democrats. That's nice. They'll be happy to hear that. That's fine. Thank you. They'll be happy to hear that. They watch. I mean, ICE, the job they have, Border Patrol, the job they have. Think of it, the border, zero, 11 months, zero people came through our border. Zero. And those charts are made up by Democrats. They don't even try. The answer is, that used to be thousands, hundreds of thousands of people lined up trying to break into a country. Now there's nobody. You have these plazas, there's nobody in them. They don't, because they know they're not coming in. But the job that Border Patrol and ICE, and then they get ridiculed and defunded. They will defund your police. If they had free reign, the Democrats will defund your police. We cannot. This is what they're doing with ICE. This is what they're doing with Border Patrol. With the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, we will pass the great health care plan, stop all payments to big insurance companies, and give the money directly to the people to buy their own health care, which will be a much better health care at a much lower price than ours. You're working on that. It's one of the most popular things. The problem is the Democrats will not vote for it because they're owned by these big insurance companies. They're owned, lock, stock, and barrel. We want to pay the money not to the insurance company, but to the people directly to the people, a health savings account, directly into that account, and you go out and buy your own much better health insurance at a much lower cost. Money left over will crush violent crime. We have done an unbelievable job on crime. Impose harsh new penalties for repeat offenders, crack down on Marxist prosecutors and rogue judges, and end deadly sanctuary cities, which is basically only to protect criminals. It's a sanctuary for criminals, and we will end one of the worst things that's happened in our country. It's just absolutely hurt our country so badly. No cash bail. They go in, they murder somebody, they're out on the street in another 15 minutes after going into a court. No bail, no cash bail. As a disaster, we'll end it, and we will defend America's borders. We'll pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American election. Because all voters must show voter ID, all voters must have proof of citizenship. And there will be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And we will also enshrine in permanent law no men in women's sports. And did you ever hear of something like just as I say it a lot. Can you imagine 15 years ago saying that there will be no men in women's sports? People would say he's crazy. There's something wrong with that guy. It's a real fight. I watched one of these local congressmen the other day saying, we must have men and women's sports. The whole thing is crazy. You ever see the weightlifting records? It's like 112-pound difference. A record stands for 19 years. And a woman, great athlete, beautiful woman, slightly muscular, slightly, a little bit more than normal, but she's a great weightlifter and stood for 19. They put an eighth of an ounce on one side of the barbell, an eighth of an ounce on the other. She's going for Olympic gold, and she wants to qualify. It's easy. It's going to be easy. She's better than the other women. And she gets up and she works and she works. And my wife hates when I do this. My wife, our great first lady, how about it? She's a movie star now. Can you believe it? Terrible. I don't know if I'm happy about that or sad about that. But no, she had the #1 movie. You saw that, Melania. And then it was #1 streaming, and I said to her, no family can have 2 stars. What do you think about that, Dr. Phil? No family can have 2 stars, Dr. Phil. This is not a good situation. I don't like it. Dr. Phil would tell me I'm right, but don't say it. No, she's done a great job, but she hates it when I do the thing on weightlifting. She says it's so unprecedented. And she hates when I dance too at the end too. She hates when I dance to what's sometimes referred to as the gay national anthem, She hates it. That song was #5 32 years ago, and it went to #1 32 years later. There's never been anything like it. It never hit #1. It was number 5 32 years ago, and it went to number 1 for months during the last months of the camp. We love that song. But she goes, darling, please. You know, she's a very elegant woman. She goes, darling, please don't dance. It's not presidential. I said, it may not be presidential, but I'm leading by 20 points in the poll. So. But she particularly hates the image of me showing sweat and strain of the young woman trying to win the weightlifting contest
Do it.
against a group of women and one gentleman who decided to go on to the other side. He transferred to the other side and
Transformed from.
and transgender anyone? And she got up, and her mother was down there. Her mother was so proud with the American flag, a little American flag. Like, remember George Foreman, the great George Foreman, had the little tiny flag when he went. She had one of them too, and she was screaming for her child, who was a weightlifter, a real good one. And she got up, and she grabbed it. She grabbed it. Oz is a big physical fitness guy, and she got it. Come on, baby, you can do it. The mother's screaming. The father didn't care because he doesn't believe that his daughter could beat the person that's coming up next. The father's saying there's no way she's beating that guy. So she gets up and she's ready. Now she's just got to do that pump. She's almost home. 1/8 of a pound more on each. 1/8, just a tiny little bit. Come on, darling. The mother's screaming like crazy. Darling, I love you, darling. Oh, Mom, I can't do it. Well, I couldn't do it. She failed. She was devastated.
This guy.
And then a young lady comes up, who was a young man, just a little way young. And he was actually a very poor. He was a weightlifter, but he was at one of the worst in the country. He was the lowest rung, about as low as you could get. So he transferred over to the other side, and he stood over that big barbell. And he looked at it. The guy could have lifted another 150 pounds. The whole thing is crazy, okay? But the Democrats want men to play in women's sports. And I won't go into swimming or anything else, but the whole thing is ridiculous. And we want no transgender surgery and mutilization of our children. So with the help of everyone in the villages, I only got 97% of the vote. You know, we're still looking for that 3% also. Could all of those that voted for, don't forget, I had to run against 2 candidates. One was Sleepy Joe, and then he petered out. You know, typically when you're 30 points down, you're not going to win. Think of it. It's like you're in a fight. UFC, the great Dana White, you're in a fight. The fighter's being just absolutely killed, and they take him out, give you another guy to beat. So they gave me another guy by the name of Kamala. And they said she'll have a 6-week honeymoon period, and then they'll get to know her. And it's true. Remember, she had a little honeymoon period, and she wouldn't do interviews. I said, there must be something wrong with her. Why wouldn't she do even favorable interviews like Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil would have done an interview. I don't know if he would have been so nice to her. Actually, he might have been tough. He might have been tough on her, Phil. But so then I had Kamala. We beat Kamala by a landslide. Think of it. We won every swing state. We won all 7. They said Trump could win 3 swing states and still win the election. He's leading by so much. He could win. We won all 7 swing states. We won the Electoral College in a landslide. We won the popular vote by millions. We won the popular. You know, I hated the first time. We won the popular vote the first time too by a lot, by millions. But they had me down a little bit in the popular vote, and they'd always introduce Donald Trump, who lost the popular vote. This is the way I got to always introduce. That's why I said, I got to win the popular vote. You know, it's all about the Electoral College. But every time they introduced me, they'd say, ladies and gentlemen, a man who lost the popular vote, but he's president. This is the way I got introduced, you know? So I said, I don't like that. So we won the popular vote by a lot. With all their cheating, that was That was popular vote AC. You know what AC means? After cheating. We still want it. We still, because they cheat like hell. That's what they do best. They cheat on elections. Look, if they did, in all fairness to them, if they didn't cheat, it would be impossible to win. You don't win when you have open borders, when you have men and women's sports, when you have the transgender, think of this, transgender mutilization of your children. Oh, please vote for me. I'm all in favor of transgender mutilization of your child. You don't win the kind of things, weak on crime, high on taxes. They voted against all of these tax cuts that we got you. They voted against. They didn't vote against because they thought they were doing something good. They voted against because I was in favor. Anything I'm in favor, I'm telling you, I'm going to run a much different campaign. I'm going to oppose all of those things that are really, really good. We're going to win. We're going to get such Democrat support. You're not going to believe it. They have no clue. But we're going to keep on fighting for American seniors. We've done more for the senior than any other person ever in this office. And we're going to keep on winning for America. We'll honor 250 years of independence, liberty, and freedom. We have it coming up. And we've made our country great. You know, we'll never, ever disrespect MAGA, make America great again. But, you know, when you think about it, make America great again, America is now great. So to say make America great again, but I'm still not getting rid of MAGA. We're not getting rid because MAGA is the greatest slogan, the greatest branding, the greatest anything in the history of politics of any country. You remember last time, because we were doing so well, I had a potential slogan, keep America great. So instead of make America great again, it was keep America great. Here's the problem, CAG. I said, that doesn't work, CAG. And I just couldn't get away. And then I did polls. Would you rather have MAGA, make America great again, or CAG, keep it? And everyone says, we want MAGA, we want MAGA. But what we do have is a new kind of a thing is America is back. And that's really true. America is back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. It's back bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And just to put it in some words that you've heard before, together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America, Dr. Oz, healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. The villages. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Trump can go. He can talk for an awful long time. Let's look at the polls, you guys. Thank you for joining us at Speak the Truth 2.0. Don't forget, let's see him there. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to Speak the Sports and Pray to All Here. And Trump can talk for a very long time, so we're not going to hold you too much longer. So anyway, you guys, we're going to look at the poll. Who is a better president? 43% said Trump. 57% said Biden. I'm just shocked when people say Biden was a better anything, because Biden was horrible.
Please explain yourself.
Biden was a horrible president. When he opened up the borders that I didn't know I was voting for, because I was one of the people that voted for Biden. I had no clue that the agenda of the Democratic Party was to open up the border and use reparations that really should have went to black people. They said, okay, we got the black people on lockdown. 93% of black voters vote for the Democrat Party, so you don't have to give black voters anything. Don't give black people nothing, but give us a little Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and some twerking and all of that, and you got to vote. So they brought all these people into our country, empty out the prisons, brought all these people in, and all of them went on welfare. So you had over 14 million people into this country with the clothes on their back. That meant they went on our welfare. That meant they got Social Security, they got Medicare, Medicaid, housing, they got luxury apartments, they got SNAP benefits. They were getting $5,000 a month in cash benefits, $15,000 in SNAP benefits. They got education. They got everything that Americans can't get.
Someone said, I live in SoCal. We need migrants. Are you talking about illegal?
Nobody's saying that we don't need migrants.
Yeah.
What we're saying is that you can't have 14 million people in a span of 4 years come into our country and put them on welfare. And if you are American, why the hell will you want us to take care of American citizens that are still living on the streets, that are living in cars, vans, can't feed their kids, and they can't get none of these benefits? So until we take care of our own house, I don't want to hear it. Because all those people came in here with the clothes on their back, and the ones that just came in don't respect this country, and they show it. I'm not talking about the people that got their certificate of naturalizations, their green cards, and they have come into this country, respect this country, and they legitimately want to become American citizens. But to have that many people come in is not for votes. And the Democrats do not talk about Americans. They don't talk about helping us. When the last time a Democrat senator or anybody went to an American prison to check out the conditions, but their asses will run to a detainment center with immigrants and fight tooth and nail? They don't fight for us.
They said only Americans votes. No one gets benefits but Americans.
That's a lie from hell. You can't have 14 million people come in with nothing. Just trying to ship them to other parts of the country, blue states, cost us millions. We spent what, 400 and what we spend on them per year so far? It's billions of dollars per year that we're spending for them to be. I think it's 450 billion a year for them to be in this country. That's not giving back to us. And then they're like, well, who's gonna pick the crops? Who was picking the goddamn crops 4 years ago before they got here? See, they tell you all this stuff. It's not about picking crops. It's not about the AI going to take over everything. It's about votes and power. Do y'all understand that what everything is always about? It's always about power and money. It's always about power. It's about votes. And right now, both sides got a problem as far as I'm concerned. But Biden, well, that's what triggered me. Biden was one of the worst presidents that we ever had, and they knew the man was suffering from dementia, and we all got to see it. Y'all all saw it. We all got to see it. We like, what the hell? You know, everybody was taking advantage of our president because he wasn't in his right mind. He wasn't fit to lead. But Kamala wasn't fit to lead neither. If he had stepped down, she didn't even know how to be a vice president. She was MIA the whole vice presidency. But I know one thing, I think all Black people at this point are gonna become independent, because I'm gonna do a live about what the Supreme Court decision about the voting rights, how it affects the 1965 Civil Rights Act and the Voting Act. We're going to look into that. What does that mean for this country and moving forward? But I'll tell you one thing, that it's not a white thing, it's not a Black thing, it's a people thing. Yeah. And if neither party is going to do well by the people, then let an independent get elected.
Yeah, he was Obama's VP, and he made the 1994 crime bill
that caused mass incarceration of Black people. I mean, who knew? Who knew? And then he apologized when Trump had him to apologize. He said, no, that was really a bad thing. They're like, where the Black fathers at? Y'all locked them all up. That's what y'all do. That's what's been happening. But right now, moving forward, people are going to have to earn people's vote. I don't care if you are from Portuguese, Italy, if you're an American citizen, if you're from China, or wherever you're from, when people go to the polls, they're not just going to vote for anybody and listen to this song and dance. People want candidates that's for the American people. American. I can't go to China and I'm coming to give me everything and forget about your citizens. What country is going to say that? There's not a country on earth that you can go to and say, I come before your citizens, but it happened here in the United States of America. And then when we say something, they're like, oh, you're against it. No, nobody's against immigration. It's you have to apply for citizenship. That's the law. We are responsible in this country, and everybody has to follow the law of the land. It's not like we're gonna follow this law, but we're not gonna follow that law, and we gonna give it this law. It doesn't work like that. You have to follow the law. You don't pick and choose which one works for you. I don't want to see, I'm American. I'm proud to be an American. And I don't want my rights being overshadowed and people being allowed to vote that haven't earned that right. They didn't die to vote. Black people died to vote. They died for this. White people died for the Civil Rights Act. There were people that lost their lives to be able to vote. I don't want somebody coming here and they're not part. They don't even respect this country, and they're going to decide our elections. I'm not here for that. No, whoever wins, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, let it be decided by American citizens. And that goes beyond color and race, ethnicity, gender. Let it be decided by American citizens. And that should, just like try to say, men should be out of women's sports. People act like that's like illogical to say that Americans should decide the election, because we get to vote for the president every 4 years. So if it's a Democrat get in office next election, fine, you get to vote again in 4 years.
Now someone else said undocumented immigrants are not voting in all caps.
They have voted, because in states throughout this country, in these blue states, they don't require ID. You can go in, and I think in California, you can get arrested for asking for ID. They don't have to show ID. They can go in and they can vote. What are you talking about? There are states, in blue states, they can vote, and no ID is required. How about that? That's how you can vote when you're not a citizen, because nobody is asking you for ID. When I went to vote, you just put your name, you can just fill out a voter registration, whatever. They put you, but you don't have to show any ID to vote.
Tammy, you need to look this up and educate yourself about this, because clearly you just want to follow a narrative. Ask AI about this information.
Well, some people don't want to know the truth, but you can. There are different states that do not require freaking ID. There are states that don't require ID, and people can vote, and people have voted in this country that are undocumented. What are you talking about?
They affect our elections and our country.
And what the Democrats want to do, they don't even want them to be citizens. They want them to be able to vote. All their attention, for the last few years, 4 years, even during Biden, their whole attention has been catering to non-documented aliens that have illegally entered this country. When do they talk about freaking American citizens? I'll wait.
And now they're saying that only 1% of the population.
When none of them should vote. What are you talking about? They only 1% of the population. Nobody go to China and vote in their election, okay? Go to Russia and vote in their election. I want y'all to go anywhere else and have that same sentiments. Go to another country and say that same thing. Go vote in their election. Please, go vote. Video, live stream it. I want to see you vote in another country. And like it's okay.
Candace said a great comment. She said, let's not forget that the Black Army did fight for this country during the Civil War. They were from the North and volunteered to do so.
Exactly.
Wow,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And for whatever reason, no matter what, black people is always a target. That's just how this country is. We're the biggest, no matter what threat. No other ethnicity, but that's because our greatness and we understand it. But God is good. And I'm like this. Like people are so busy trying to divide Americans. I'm talking about this is America. I'm talking about Americans.
Yeah,
I'm talking about us. This conversation. The only reason why it's like this is because the Democrats opened up the border. That's why we going through ICE and going through all the Obama. He sent back over 3 million illegal immigrants, and nobody protests. Nobody. He's the deporter in chief. Nobody said, but we didn't have Trinidad Araga. We didn't have ISIS. We didn't have the cartel. We didn't have 350 terrorists here. We didn't have Venezuela that opened up their prisons and let out almost 12,000 convicted murderers, 15,000 convicted rapists. All this, when he did it, we didn't even have this going
Well,
on.
they're not risking deportation because they can get away with voting in our elections. Because someone says like, "Oh, that's you saying that like they have common sense that they would risk deportation to vote."
They think that look, the Democrats be filling their head. They out there protesting when they could be deported. Okay, they filling their head that they sell. Go to New York. Okay, you want to see what's going on? Go to New York City. Go to New York City right now. They've been robbing New York stores in front of people and selling the same crap that they have stolen right there on the streets. They have beaten up cops and have been let out. They snatched. They could do whatever. Like New York City is Gotham City without Batman.
Yeah,
That's what it's become. You want to see what's going on? Go to New York.
yeah.
Go to New York City.
Well, Tammy, if you look at the channel, you can see that my mom was a very present Democrat voter who actually had a conversation and greeted Joe Biden.
I am a legislator. I've been director of publications and legislation. I'm a legislative director, activist, advocate. I've been in the rooms with Biden. I even got videos showing me greeting Biden and whatever. I got selfies with the former President Obama. All of these people, Bernie Sanders, every kind of Democrat leader that you could think of, I've met. I've done speeches, I've campaigned, I've done boots on the ground. I have people delegating them, doing phone banking throughout this country. I was all in. I'm not just on, I was all in. But I had no idea what the master plan was. This problem that was put in our lap is not even the illegal immigrants' fault because this country told them to come in. And then they guess what they start doing? They start flying them in. When they start saying, okay, they letting them come in, and they got 2 million gotaways. They rather gotaways, 2 million gotaways. Let's not forget about them. Paid them to be able to come in here. That they call them gotaways. They paid their way. They don't even want us to know who they are. Let's not forget about that. And yeah, we paid the Taliban. Biden was paying them $40 million cash payment per week or something like that. Cash payment. I'm like, it's some crazy crap that be going on, y'all.
Someone said you're not even an immigrant to speak about immigrants voting. I have family that are immigrants and don't care about voting because they don't want to risk their lives.
Why don't they get their citizenship? What are you talking about? They can go back to their country or origin and they can vote in the next election. Okay? If you got immigrants that are here illegally and they know they broke the law because they don't want to risk, that means you already know you're here illegally. But why don't you apply for citizenship?
Yeah.
Trump got it so that you can get a ticket to go back home, get $1,000, be put on the list that you get to come back legally. Why not? Why watch your back when you can do it the right way? What the Democrats did was wrong. And you talking about your family. I'm talking about, see, y'all want us to focus on y'all like we not supposed to focus on Americans. We're Americans. I'm not, wherever your family come from, I'm not focused on your country. I'm focused on my country. They all want us to focus on them. We got our own problems. Did y'all know we got people living on the streets? Do you know we got people dying because they can't get health care? Do you know that we have people living in Americans. Do you know there's children, American children on the street? Do you know American children are going hungry? Do you understand American children aren't getting the education they're supposed to get because the people, the kids, the immigrant kids can't speak English. So our kids are already dumb from COVID, and now they can't even learn at the level they supposed. A lot of them can't even read because the teachers, they don't give them more money to be able to teach the kids that can't speak English. So our children suffer. Our children are suffering. We're dumbing down. Our children are dumbing down because of this. Do you understand that we pay all this money for education and our kids aren't learning? They're not even learning. And we're supposed to focus on y'all and not us.
Now they said they have is a process that takes years.
Well, that's right. It takes years.
So how are they risking their lives?
Yeah, how they risking their lives? Listen, Americans, something is real. We live in an upside down world, whereas we're supposed to be focused on people who are taking our resources, using our taxpayer dollars. They came in here with nothing. There's no way that 14 million people could come into a country with nothing. That means everything they need, from food to everything, we're providing. But the Democrats overwhelmed it with them. But when it comes to Americans, they can't get those same benefits. They're on the streets. They're suffering. I want my taxpayer dollars to go to our citizens. That's what's right.
Upside down, Stranger Things.
We live in an upside down world. We're supposed to be focused on them. That's what these Democrat leaders who are going to be voted out of office, that's what they do. They don't focus on us. You know, gas prices are high. Do you know that a lot of Americans have been working 2 or 3 jobs? Americans work hard. I hate when they act like we work hard.
How does Trump want to deport us who are American citizens? Born and raised in
Why? Well, you know what? Nobody even want to entertain because we're the only ones in the Constitution. Everybody else that came in that's riding off the back of the Civil Rights Act because of black people, y'all should be telling us thank you. But that's not even for you. That's for us. We're in the Constitution. You're not. And Trump is like, well, hold up. This is supposed to be for former slaves and their descendants. This wasn't meant from people from China and Venezuela and all the parts of the world to be able to utilize the Civil Rights Bill. And then y'all want to turn y'all noses up at us and y'all benefiting from what we did? Get out of here. We're not having that. We're not going to let these lies continue about our contribution when we built this nation on our backs, and they had the audacity to call us lazy. The audacity, free labor, audacity. The way we have had to grind and work for everything, and then been suppressed all the way, even today. But we are survivors.
And we're gonna have a stream on what the Supreme Court recently did.
Yeah, we're gonna have I'm gonna do a stream how that affects. But the elections are not gonna go in 2028 like people think they are. Like, you could try to suppress votes, you could try to have immigrants, and like the Republicans want to suppress the black vote now. You got the Democrats want the illegal immigrants to vote. So we got all this crazy going on both sides. Guess what? We're gonna have an independent run that's gonna win. Because both sides don't want to do right by all the people.
So, Tammy, you prefer the auto pen. Because that sure was signed by Joe Biden, those bills.
All I know is open up the borders did an injustice to this country. It did an injustice to this country. And whether you want to adhere to it or not, it wasn't their fault that this country opened up their borders and allowed any and everybody, because they wanted as many people as possible to come over the borders. They didn't care if they were from prisons. They didn't care if they were terrorists. They didn't care about anything. They want head counts. They want votes. So they're not even for the American people. So the Democrats, they're not for the American people, period. The stuff that's going on that happened with the Supreme Court, they should have been focusing on that. But where are they?
So now someone else said, you sound silly. Illegal immigrants do not take your tax dollars. They work. They don't get Section 8 or food stamps. They're terrified.
You
because-
are silly. Listen. Are you from here? Cause you sound like you illegal. Don't tell me what they don't take. How the hell they come in this country 14 million with nothing on their back and they didn't take shit from us? Don't insult my intelligence or anybody else on this stream. At least have the decency to say that they did. They're not helping us. They're taking our resources. You know how much more food you need to feed them, how much more cases of water, how much more crowded our schools are. How the hell did that help us? You don't come in with nothing and not put on welfare. Let's start with it. They came in with health care. So they all came in with health care. Is that what, so they all came in with houses.
They phrased it like they're a benefit.
So
to the country, they're like they work and all. Kind
no, they not working hard. They not working enough. Because we didn't need 14 million. They didn't. The Democrats didn't have them coming here because we for work. Let's that be a understand. That's the bullshit they keep on trying to tell. Oh, they came in. No, the Democrats didn't have them come in because of work. We didn't need them for work. They wanted them in here for votes.
Well, Tammy, you have to research DEI. Actually benefits mostly white women. Everyone else
Oh,
in the
please don't
conversation-
tell me we got somebody that still don't know what diversity, equity, inclusion is. It didn't help black people. It only DEI. You see a white woman that's in a high position, that's DEI. That's who it benefited.
They're black and they're saying like DEI was such a bad thing, but they don't know it mostly benefits.
Well, they gotta ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
We were number 9, the bottom of the list for diversity, equity, inclusion. It benefited every ethnicity except black people. But we're the face of it. We're the face of everything. They always want to make black people the face of everything in this country that they think is a negative. Or some sort of unearned advantage. When they need to show DEI, they need to have a white woman face because that's who benefited from DEI, followed by Hispanics, Asians, indigenous, seniors, people with disability, vets. It just goes on and on. And then number 9 are black people. So we talking about what, like maybe 1, 2, 3%. We didn't benefit from it. Overwhelmingly, it was white women. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when they try to put black people as the face of everything, like we need a handout. Whatever we do, we got to be the top of the class and the best of the best. Those are facts. Those are facts. Those are facts. And it's wrong. But because we're living in a time that we got chat, Wikipedia, you got Google, Siri, Ground News, you can find out everything instantly. If you really want to know the truth about anything and everything, you can find out for yourself. And you can fact check everything. And that's a fact.
Well, James, the DEI hires are like Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi and Christy Noem on Trump's cabinet. Those were DEI hires. They were DEI.
They said 92% of DEI hires aren't white. I don't even know where they got that statistic.
Yeah, they are. They are. But see, the news media, and I used to, for so many years, always have people believing what they want to. But if you want to know, I encourage you, if you want to know the truth, because this is Speak the Truth. We're not going to sugarcoat anything for you. You can agree to disagree. Either you want the truth or you don't. That some people are more comfortable believing a lie. They don't really want to know the truth. That's how it is. But if you want to know, use ChatGPT. Use a search engine. You can find that out in this day and time in a matter of seconds if you want the truth. That's it. Nobody's here trying to convince you, trying to lie to you. It's like, what do you want out of life? Do you want to be in bubble land or whatever? Or do you want the truth? That's your decision. You have a right not to know the truth. You have a right to be comfortable in your own skin. You have a right to believe whatever you want to believe. That's your prerogative. But what I'm saying is that this is America. And we are American citizens. And I want American citizens to come first. Period. All the focus has been on everyone except for Americans when Americans are suffering? How many times you see a Democrat talking about the suffering of Americans? It's like like what? Americans aren't supposed to be helped in their own country? Is that what y'all believe? That we're supposed to focus on your needs when we have the same needs? Are you kidding me? Americans, when I walk by and I see Americans living on the street, picking through trash, their children on the street, they living in vans and cars, they can't get Medicare, they can't get medicine, all the things that's afforded to people that aren't even citizens. That's my issue. I want my taxpayer dollars taking care of Americans. When you go to another country, you think they're gonna prioritize you over their countrymen? Y'all gotta be for real. Y'all don't give a damn about Americans. Y'all like, what about me, me? I'm angry. Everything must be me, me, me. The hell with Americans, right? Wait, we don't want to give you anything. You're American. Forget you. This is an upside down world. This is lopsided. But whoever runs in 2028, y'all better watch out. Because y'all, the votes y'all think y'all gonna get, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, y'all gonna have to earn these votes. Whether it's white people, black people, Asian, Hispanic, indigenous, you're gonna have to earn our votes.
See, like the thing that
Americans, I'm talking about.
The thing I've been realizing with these streams is that people, like in the comments and just in general, they want to follow their own narrative.
They can.
They don't want to look it up.
These are adults. Go ahead.
They want to follow and believe their own narrative and
right.
Story about what they are saying.
Why do you think that? Why do they want to follow? They don't want to look up the truth. Why? And these are adults. Most people on here are over 30. Yeah. Mostly everybody, these are adults. And this is the behavior of mature adults.
Yeah.
And it's boggling that they raise children, have children, and it's hard for them to, Americans should not be at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to receiving help from this government. That's a fact. That's a fact. Americans shouldn't have to be like everybody else go before Americans. It doesn't make any sense.
Another point, like people choose just one type of news source. Like CNN.
If you just watch Fox News, you got 1 point. You just watch CNN or NS Now or Rachel Maddow, or you watch what's Trump Newsmax, or it's like that's your narrative. That's why I like doing the live, so people can formulate their own opinion before the news take and chop it up. But the thing about it, they're gonna have a rude awakening, because everybody is not gonna just vote. Americans are not. No matter what, nobody's gonna outvote Americans, and Americans are not going to go for this nonsense that's been going on. We're tired. We're tired of the song and dance. We're tired of a whole party that won't even acknowledge us. We're tired of it. We're tired of the other party that we're trying to support that's sort of like they dividing us. You can't be president of just Republicans. You're the president of all Americans. That's divide. You got to stop saying the left is no. You're the president of the left and the right. We got to stop this. Because we're only one nation under God when we stand as one. Because all this division and this one say this, it's like little kids in the park. Well, Susie said this and Tom said this, and everybody going back and forth while nothing is getting done to benefit us. We're tired of this. Tired of not being represented. I'm tired of Americans being last. I'm tired of it. And nobody came into this country with the clothes on their back and they weren't put on our welfare. Nobody. You go into the hospitals, I couldn't believe when I went to the hospital, like they had Gurneys all in the hallways everywhere. You couldn't even get a room. All go to the emergency and see who's all in there. I couldn't believe it.
It's like what someone said.
Well, anyway, you guys, I want to do another stream. I'm on here longer than I want to be on. Whatever. God bless you, But look, I want these elected officials to be focused on what's good for Americans because we are Americans.
Now the one girl said well said.
What?
Now the one girl said well said to the person that said that.
You know what? They can stay in bubble land all they want to, but it's okay. You comfortable there. But guess what? People have to do your own research. Find out what DEI. Find out. Pete, nobody came into these are facts. Nobody came in with crossing those borders with the clothes on their backs and were not put on our welfare. Okay? Nobody. And we didn't need 14 million workers. That they were brought in because they need votes. It wasn't about work, y'all. It's about votes and power. This is big government. Government is about power. So y'all can watch movies that show you that.
Terry, why don't you just come back with the data and provide numbers instead of just saying that we're lying?
Well, they don't want to know the truth. It's okay. You telling me that they came up with houses and cars and clothes and Medicare, Medicaid, and education and SNAP benefits. They came in with everything themselves. Right. You go with that delusion. But that's not even the point. My point is take care of Americans. It's not about you. It's about taking care of Americans. Can you hear me now? What? Well, that's illegal. That's how they feel because they want us to be focused on them. They don't give a damn about Americans. They don't like all this. They don't care. The only people don't care because they're not Americans. They act like it's supposed to be about illegal immigrants.
I said no. They worked their butt off and were homeless and poor.
They're not supposed to be here.
Our responsibility.
How can we become our responsibility? We work our butts off, and our people are poor as well. What are you talking about? Americans were poor before they got here. People, they really think, and they so delusional from the Democrats. They think that America's only supposed to be focused on them. And now that what kind of crap is?
If you love America, you would be fighting for American citizens.
Exactly.
Not illegal immigrants.
That's how you know they're not American. How doesn't it make sense to want to take care of Americans when we are American? That's crazy. Well, anyway, you guys, I got other shows to do. We want to look at the Supreme Court and what they have done and what does that mean for America in upcoming elections. And we got both parties doing all kinds of stuff for votes. You got the Republicans doing their thing, trying to suppress votes. You got the Democrats trying to have illegal immigrants. They're trying to make it so that they can vote. The Democrats didn't let everybody in because of the kindness of their heart. And y'all know that.
And we haven't always been a country of immigrants. There's something called Native Americans.
Legal immigrants. Okay? So anyway, God bless Americans. We want Americans to do well. We want Americans to vote in our elections. We want Americans to be top priority when it comes to everything that has to do with America. And that's only right.
Someone said, nice listening to you.
Thank you. I love being American. God bless America. And there's nothing wrong with focusing on the welfare of the citizens of this country.
Someone said, they said you are turning into little Trumps. Give it a rest.
Wow, Trump. Well, I don't know how you feel about that. That is not the goal, though. That is not the goal. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about what's right. What's right. Everything Trump does is not great or good. I don't agree with anyone 100% on anything. Some things I agree with that he says. With some things I agree with Biden. Some things I agree with Obama. It's different people you agree to disagree. Some things you're for and some things you're not. That's called life. That's called life. That part about Americans is right. It's right. Go to one of these cities and see Americans out on the street with just the clothes on their back. And we went in the store. I couldn't even believe the area. An older white gentleman, dirty, he in the store, and he just wanted people to. He kept talking about help or whatever. You know, you got homeless people of all ethnicities out here that are Americans. That's wrong. Well, before we open up those borders, they should have taken care of every homeless person in America. Because when I like go to work and I see them on the street, I try to give them whatever I can. They cold, I bring them into my business to get warm. I take them in stores they can't go in because I don't feel like they should be treated differently. And so I have them with me. I try to feed them, and you can't get them a hotel because the way they look, people only allow them to go into a hotels. They're on try living on the streets for a few days and see what you look like. They gotta go to the bathroom outside. They gotta do everything outside. They die out there.
In the cold.
They die out there. Americans. They didn't get the benefits that was offered to these illegal aliens. And when I thought we couldn't help them, I was so naive. While I campaigned hard for Democrat leadership, I was so naive. I thought we couldn't help our homeless people. Until now, I had no clue that all the time that they've been out on the street, the government could have helped them, and they chose not to. That's why I'm so passionate. I got videos of me going out, just trying to feed them, give them money, do what I could personally. I'm the person, I don't like talking about stuff. I like putting forth action. Don't say somebody, help them. But I had no idea that all this time, this country could have helped them. And that's why it pains me now. It pains me. It pains me. They didn't have to be on the streets. They never was offered what was offered to people who never even paid into the taxpayer system or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to jump off this thing a lot longer than I meant for it to take. Anyway, you guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe to Speak the Truth 2.0. Look for alert. I wanted to get another video up, but this is really running late. Look, I might probably just do this live tomorrow about the Supreme Court. What does that mean for American voters? How is that going to affect districts with not allowing relining? That's what the Republicans are doing. So it's always mess going on. We got a lot of stuff going on. There's stuff going on every day, but we're going to dive into it. So look for that show. I'm going to start uploading more because I want the discussions, to continue. And like I said, look at my other channel, Speak to Sports. I want to try to put up some NFL and some of that on that NFL show, Speak to Sports, because it really focuses on NFL and college football and all that. I didn't even say anything about the draft, but I want to talk about AJ Brown. I want to talk about Caleb Williams. There's a few people I want to talk about, and some of these draft picks and all of that. And I don't even care who playing in the NBA right now. I'm tired of LeBron. LeBron has left the building. I'm so tired of LeBron James. So I like to see to be honest, the NBA needs more entertainment at this point because of Steph Curry, who has always been my favorite player. Yeah. By him doing the threes, everybody shoot threes now. So at first it was exciting for years, but now because everybody does it, NBA has dropped off because now it's all about the threes. But I think what they need to do is have the Ball brothers, have LiAngelo, Lonzo, and Melo, put them together. I want to see them play together because I think that would be a phenomenal team to have the Ball brothers. But you need stuff like that because the people they have right now, LeBron trying to have Bronny on the Lakers. And, it's just, and now the Warriors is unrecognizable. They just got that sorry ass Draymond Green on there and got rid of Clay for the one that really was probably a better player than Steph Curry, because not only was Klay Thompson one of the best 3-point shooters, but he could lock the best player down until he had his Achilles injury and his ACL injury. But he still helped them win their 4th championship, while Draymond was doing his usual, trying to help them lose his championship. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. God bless.
I mean, you should enjoy the entertainment. Your life shouldn't just be centered around drama.
We want to do sports. That's supposed to be for fun. So anyway, God bless you guys. See you on the next slide. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe to Speak the Truth 2.0.